Happy Royal Rumble season. What a time to be a wrestling fan it is. I personally love this time of year. It's like my second favorite event right behind WrestleMania. And that's because we kick off the road to WrestleMania on February 1st in Indianapolis as the Royal Rumble rolls through Indiana. And it's gonna be a great time, man. I can't wait for it. And there's a lot of speculation going into the event, which for me, I think is kind of like the best part of the Royal Rumble. Not even the Royal Rumble itself. It's all the speculation. It's wondering who's gonna be there, who's gonna show up, and who could win the whole thing. And today, we're gonna figure out who we think is going to win the whole thing, or at least who is most likely to win the Royal Rumble. We're tier ranking every single male superstar on NXT, Raw, and Smackdown, and what their chances are of winning the 2025 Royal Rumble. We are going to break it down between great chance, good chance, okay chance, little chance, and no chance. Now, this is all my opinion, and I want to know your opinion as well, so be sure to let me know down in the comments section of this video. And also, while you're down there, make sure you leave a like on this thing, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and keep coming back every single day because we upload wrestling videos every single day. All right, man, let's begin. Let's start tier ranking as we're kicking things off with AJ Styles. Now, AJ Styles is obviously hurt right now. He's not around in WWE, at least I don't think he is. I'm not obviously like a doctor or anything, and I don't know if AJ Styles is cleared to compete or not. If he is, he will be in the Royal Rumble, and it would be a great way to reintroduce him to WWE. However, I personally think AJ Styles will not be in this Rumble because if he was able to be on TV, I think he would be on TV right now. It would be wonderful to see the Phenomenal One back, but I'm going to say even if he's in the Royal Rumble, he has such a little chance of winning this thing. This might be the last year of AJ Styles' career, and if it is, what a career it has been. But I just don't see a world where AJ Styles is going to win the Royal Rumble this year. It just feels like his time has come and gone, and now he's in legend status. I would love to see him come back in the Rumble, but he's winning it? Nah. Akam is one member of the Final Testament. He's one half of the tag team Authors of Pain, and he has no chance of winning this Royal Rumble. Tozawa could harness the power of Tozawa, and he could walk out as a Royal Rumble winner. Now, I'll say this about Tozawa. If he was put in a position like Santino Marella was, however many years ago it was, when he was in the Final Two against Alberto Del Rio, I know people would be popping and they would be cheering for Akira Tozawa. It could be anybody he could be in the Final Two with, and people would be so behind the idea of him winning the whole thing. Obviously, it would be hilarious if Tozawa won the Royal Rumble. And I'm just going to appease the Tozawa fans, okay? Because let's face it, the guy is, he's nasty, right? And he could be very nasty and win the whole thing. So let's just say he has a little chance. I'm not going to say he's a favorite by any means, but you never know. That power of Tozawa could do dangerous things, and it could make him the Royal Rumble winner. Sorry, Alex Shelley, but you're in the tag team division. I don't see you winning this thing. Andrade is an interesting one because I think this year in the Royal Rumble, Andrade is going to have a great showing. I believe, if my memory serves me correctly, he just returned a year ago in the Royal Rumble, and it was a great reaction. He's been excellent since being back in WWE, and he probably deserves a good showcase in this Rumble. I could see Andrade being one of the earlier superstars and having a good, not quite Iron Man run, but close to an Iron Man run in the Royal Rumble. Do I think, though, Andrade is going to win this thing? No, I actually feel like he's, yeah, okay, this is already skewed because Tozawa's in the little chance area. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't skew my list this early, but I'm going to put Andrade right behind AJ Styles here with a little chance. I think if he did win this thing, people would be very excited to see Andrade win the Royal Rumble, and they would be like, oh my God, we're finally going to push Andrade al Idolo, but it feels like he's not going to win this thing. Feels like he's going to have a good showing, get some eliminations, be in there for maybe, 30 minutes, something like that, and then be eliminated. Andrade ain't winning this thing. Andre Chase, you lost Chase U, and you're not going to win the Rumble either. You got no chance. I think I'm going to have to make the no chance part really, really big right here because we've got Angel Garza, and Angel Garza, love you, great tag team wrestler, but you got no chance. Angelo Dawkins is an interesting one. I don't really know right now what's going on with Angelo Dawkins, if he is cleared to compete or if it was Montez Ford that was injured. I don't know what's going on with the Street Profits. I think that they've been taken off TV because of injury or something going on. But the idea of Angelo Dawkins showing up in the Rumble and having a good showcase by himself is interesting. I'll go ahead and say, all right, if they decided to push Angelo Dawkins as a single star, there is better than just a little chance of him winning, right? Angelo Dawkins could become a made man if they had him win the Royal Rumble. Now, that seems like such a stretch, because then what's like the match at WrestleMania, right? Like, if Angelo Dawkins wins this thing, who is he going on to face at Mania? Is it him versus Gunther? Well, I mean, okay, like, you know, I actually kind of want to see that now that I say it out loud, but also at the same time, he's not winning that thing. He's not in the world title contention right now. But if they decided to get behind Angelo Dawkins as a single star, I think he would surprise a lot of people. So I'll go, you know what? Nah, I backtrack. Conman's going to change his own rules right here. He's got a little bit more of a little chance than AJ Styles. There we go. That feels better. Apollo is not going to win the Royal Rumble. He's not. He's sorry, Apollo. No chance. Ashante, you know where you belong, all right? Very fun watching you and Carmen on NXT, but you got no chance of winning this thing, although you're winning life with Carmen. Here's an intriguing one. Austin Theory. What about Mr. Theory over here? We've been waiting for him to break out as a single star ever since Vince McMahon decided to give him that golden egg. Was it a golden egg? I can't remember. Whatever the gold thing was that Vince McMahon gave him, and became the chosen man, the chosen boy, the chosen one of WWE. It felt like big things were in store for Austin Theory until John Cena cooked him at WrestleMania, and he tried and failed to cash in on the United States Championship with the Money in the Bank. There's a lot of things that have gone wrong with Austin Theory, but he's still so young. There's still so much ahead here for Austin Theory that he could very well win the Royal Rumble and be launched into superstardom. I think this year, though, Austin Theory has some unfinished business with his tag team partner in Grayson Waller. They're kind of butting heads, and they've been butting heads for the better part of a year now. It's probably time to do the big blow-off match at WrestleMania with Austin Theory versus Grayson Waller. If they don't want to do it there, I guess Backlash could work, right, in Paris, France, if that's where they happen to go, or who knows? Who knows what they're going to do with Austin Theory and Grayson Waller, because I thought they would have been broken up by now, but they're not. Austin Theory, though, going into, I would say, the okay chance, because I do feel WWE does like Austin Theory. I think that they see something in Theory, and if they decided this was the year we want to run with him in the main event scene of WrestleMania, we want to put him up against a Gunther, or hell, if they wanted to really push him to the moon, they could put him up against Cody, or gosh, who knows, maybe if Kevin wins the title from Cody, they could put him up against Kevin. It's not the most exciting option, and it's why I say he's got an okay chance this year, because it just doesn't feel like Austin Theory truly will win the Rumble this year. But if he did, I could be interested, and I could see why. He's young, he's talented, and they see a future star in him. So we'll say okay chance. Axiom, no, don't see you winning this Rumble. All right, you got some stuff with Nathan Frazier. Very, very good tag team, though. Very entertaining tag team, but you ain't winning it. How about Humberto Carrillo? Humberto, you can get alongside of Angel Garza in the no chance in hell category. You ain't winning this thing. Oh, man, play with my heartstrings here. Big E. Dude, okay, if we hear Big E's music hit in the Royal Rumble, it's because he's going out there to confront Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. And my fingers are crossed that Big E is able to return to the Royal Rumble and that we can get the build to a New Day triple threat match at WrestleMania. I don't know if Kofi and Xavier would be against each other in a triple threat match, or if it'd be like something where they're like, they have some issues. Maybe it's for the number one contendership, so they know that they have to fight each other, even though that they don't really want to. I don't know. But Big E coming back, if he comes back in the Royal Rumble, he's not winning the thing. All right, I'll say that right here, right now. Big E is not winning the Royal Rumble. He's not going to go and like wrestle against a Gunther or a Cody or whoever at WrestleMania. But if he does show up, it's to kickstart a program with his New Day brothers as they go towards WrestleMania, whether it's a one-on-one match between Kofi and Big E, or whether it's Xavier versus Big E, or it's a triple threat match, or maybe Big E gets a tag team partner and goes up against them. Maybe it's Big E and Rey Mysterio versus the New Day at WrestleMania. You know, like that's a marquee match that could very well happen. So I'll say this. I think Big E, if he shows up, he's got a little chance, okay? I think he's got more of a chance than those three at winning it, less of a chance than Austin Theory of winning the Royal Rumble. So if Big E shows up, kickstart the program with the New Day, but he ain't winning this thing. Whoa, that That's one big son of a bitch. Braun Strowman, man. Could he win this whole thing? Look, he's a big dude. I could see him going in and getting quite a few eliminations, honestly, before somebody else tosses him out of the ring. Now, we have seen Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman interact quite a bit, but as of the recording of this video, we haven't seen the Saturday night's main event match between those two. I could see this going in a direction where we don't actually get a finish between Jacob Fatu and Braun Strowman. That leads into the Royal Rumble where they have another moment where maybe Jacob is the one who eliminates Braun Strowman. You need somebody big, somebody on the rise to eliminate this man because he's so over with the crowd. Everybody loves what Braun Strowman brings to the table. And if Braun Strowman was penciled in to win the Royal Rumble, you could see it being a big enough match against Gunther. You know what I mean? Like if WWE decided that they really wanted a big matchup and a showcase match for Gunther and give Gunther a big win at WrestleMania, you could see Braun Strowman being there, man. It's not the most exciting one. It's not the best overall one, but like at the same time, Braun Strowman is a monster among men, and you could build it that way going into Mania. So I'll say Braun Strowman actually so far has the best chance of winning out of everybody that we have listed. Mainly because of his size, it's believable, and you could see WWE doing Gunther versus Braun Strowman, even if it's not like the most intriguing matchup of them all. So the question with Brock Lesnar is not a matter of if he would be a favorite to win the Royal Rumble if he was in it, because he would be a favorite if he was in the Royal Rumble. It's a question of, does WWE want to deal with the PR fallout that would come with Brock Lesnar coming back to the WWE? And with everything going on with Netflix and how the company is just viewed in such a positive way right now, I don't know how WWE would justify bringing back a Brock Lesnar at this very moment. You know it's going to be a shitstorm because there's a lot of controversy that comes with Brock Lesnar right now, and justifiably so. I understand why people wouldn't maybe be thrilled to see Brock Lesnar back on their TV screens. I will say this, if Brock Lesnar did show up in the Royal Rumble, you could very well say that he's got a great chance of winning. All right. If Brock Lesnar returns and he shows up in the Rumble, eliminates everybody, and you build to Brock Lesnar versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight title, that's a Mania match. That's a match that people have wanted to see for so very long. They wanted to see Gunther versus Brock back before everything went down. And I guarantee if Brock was brought back, people would still want to see that match. It would be very controversial. Do not get me wrong. It would be an extremely controversial decision, and it feels like one that WWE could get to that match if they wanted to without having to highlight Brock Lesnar as a Royal Rumble winner. Still a possibility, still a chance, and if Brock Lesnar is back in WWE, he could be the Royal Rumble winner. The idea of Bron Breakker winning the Royal Rumble this year and pushing him into megastardom going into WrestleMania is a great idea. Do I think this is his year? No, because he is still the Intercontinental Champion. Granted, again, this is recorded before Saturday night's main event, so he could lose the title to Sheamus and could be wide open for WrestleMania season. And we have teased in the past, I seem to be talking about Gunther a lot, but we have teased in the past that Bron Breakker and Gunther are being set up for an eventual matchup. If the long play is getting Bron Breakker over as the World Heavyweight Champion this year, if they think that this is his year to get the job done, then they might want to pull the trigger and have Bron Breakker win the Royal Rumble. I will say he's got a high okay chance of winning this thing. I feel like he is in the position of being young, being highlighted already, and he's probably being set up for a big match at WrestleMania for that Intercontinental Championship. But on the off chance that he actually does lose the title to Sheamus, that they allow Sheamus to complete his championship collection, they could push Bron Breakker up the card, and Braun versus Gunther is a WrestleMania caliber match. It's happening very, very quickly, and the rise of Bron Breakker is so much fun to watch, but the idea of him being in that position this year isn't completely outlandish. I'll say it, he's got an okay chance of winning this thing. Bronco Nima from NXT? No, sorry dude, no chance in hell. Could we see Jake TV 72 win the Royal Rumble though? There's definitely a possibility after that insane dive that Bronson Reed hit off the side of the War Games cage, or I should say the top of the War Games cage. We could see Bronson Reed return inside the Royal Rumble, and they could be like, hey, this was a great showcase for you in War Games, now we want to push you to the moon. I feel like, though, if Bronson Reed is ready to come back, it's going to be to kickstart a program with somebody else. Whoever that may be, whoever they may see having a full-on program with Bronson Reed when he comes back, will be who he eliminates in the Royal Rumble. I'm almost certain about that if he was able to come back. Now, I also think Bronson Reed won't be in the Royal Rumble. I think Bronson Reed is still injured and he's not cleared, and it will be a while before he's cleared to return to the ring. So I'll say this, Bronson Reed has a little chance of winning the Royal Rumble, maybe a little bit higher than like AJ Styles, I would say. Yeah, I would say Bronson Reed has maybe just a little bit higher chance than AJ Styles. You could even say higher chance than Angelo Dawkins, actually, of winning this thing. Crazy to say that he's got less of a chance than Big E because Big E's not even cleared to return, but hey, same technically with Bronson Reed. He's not cleared to return yet, so same sort of chance. Brooks Jensen, no chance. Brutus Creed, I love what he brings to the table, but not this year. He's not winning this thing. Ah, damn, I love Carlito as well, but like, look, let's call a spade a spade. He is somehow the least important member in the Judgment Day. I love what Carlito does. I love that they're starting to highlight him just a little bit more with the apple chewing and all that and some of the funny bits that he has backstage, but yeah, no chance, Carlito. You ain't winning it. Now, Carmelo Hayes in this year's Royal Rumble, I think, could have a great showing. Do I think that he actually is going to win the Royal Rumble? No, but if we're looking at who deserves an opportunity to be the Iron Man of this year's Royal Rumble, I think it needs to be Carmelo Hayes. He was once viewed as one of WWE's top 2 prospects in NXT back during the time of Bron Breakker and Carmelo Hayes rising up the ranks. People said that this guy and Bron Breakker were going to main event a future WrestleMania together. And here we are in 2025, and I feel like Melo's stock has dropped a lot. It's been a little bit since the Best of 7 series, and that has been the highlight of his time in WWE. He has lacked direction. He has lacked a purpose for WWE's story, and I think at the Royal Rumble we need to give him something that the fans can sink their teeth into, something that the fans are like, this guy don't miss. And so I think Melo is going to be the Iron Man of this year's Royal Rumble. I think he enters at like either number 2 or number 3, maybe number 4, something like that, but very, very early on, and he stays in until the mid-20s, something like that. I could see towards the end somebody like a CM Punk coming out and eliminating a Carmelo Hayes. I could see that going down. I don't think he's going to win, but if they decided to, if they truly wanted to make a star in Carmelo Hayes, it feels like the Austin Theory type of position where they could pull the trigger. It would be out of nowhere. It would be out of the blue. It'd be so much fun to see happen, and they could make a new star. Melo, I will say, has an okay chance of winning this thing. Sorry, Cedric, get in the no chance area. Now, if Chad Gable won the Royal Rumble, I know all of us would be ecstatic, right? Chad Gable has put in the work. He has been doing the job and putting over so much talent over the last how many years? This guy was once known as Shorty G and has developed himself into becoming one of the most complete performers on WWE's roster. He can do it all. Comedy, in-ring, promo, heel, babyface, you name it. This guy can work in tag teams, in a faction, as a single star. He can do absolutely everything. And Chad Gable deserves a great showing this year in the Royal Rumble. If Melo isn't going to be the Iron Man, it should be Chad Gable. This guy has, again, completely proven himself to the roster and completely proven himself to the fans that he can go out there and do absolutely anything with anyone. He got the Wyatt 6 over. Can you imagine just putting yourself in that position where your character's on the rise and you're like, yeah, no problem. I'll be murdered backstage. All right. Or muck ducked or whatever you want to call it. The guy got absolutely got by the Wyatt 6 backstage, and it took a while to get back to this point where he is now with American Made. Chad Gable deserves a great showing. If he won the whole thing, if he won the Royal Rumble, so many people would be ecstatic. I'll put Chad Gable here at good chance, right? If we look at the overall story as well, he did want to finish his own story against Gunther to win the Intercontinental Championship. But if Gunther is still holding onto that World Heavyweight title, Chad Gable could actually skip the IC Championship if he won the Royal Rumble and went on to face Gunther for the World Heavyweight title. And then all of a sudden, we're like, yeah, that's an interesting program. Gunther versus Gable at Mania for the world title. All right. I don't hate it. Good chance for Gable. Stax has no chance. Charlie Dempsey has no chance. Chris Sabin, I love you, but you got no chance. Okay, here we are. Our very first true favorite to win the Royal Rumble. CM Punk has probably the greatest chance out of anybody in this Royal Rumble this year to win the whole thing. If CM Punk wants to go on to WrestleMania and wants to main event the show, and he wants to compete for the World Heavyweight title or the WWE Championship, this is how he gets the job done. And CM Punk winning the Royal Rumble and going on to main event WrestleMania would finally complete so many check marks on his little complete list, to-do list, whatever you want to call it. CM Punk probably should win the Royal Rumble this year. He's got to be considered the favorite out of absolutely everybody. And then, like, going into WrestleMania, then it's all of a sudden the question of, like, okay, does he want to go after the WWE Championship or does he want to go after the World Heavyweight Championship? The idea of Cody versus Punk is a huge matchup that could absolutely main event the show, but also the idea of doing Punk versus Gunther could be a real graps match, and it could be one of those like highlight matches of WrestleMania that would be so good that steal the whole show. Like, that could be your 5-star level match if you really wanted to lean into that type of matchup. CM Punk winning the Rumble is probably the best decision that they have in front of them here, and it's the most honest one. The fans want to see it. People want to see Punk get his flowers this year. We didn't get that last year. He was injured for WrestleMania. This is the time where the fans are so behind CM Punk. Everybody is like, yep, we like Punk. We want him. We want to see him win. We want to see him main event WrestleMania. Let's do it. All right, let's pull the trigger with CM Punk, give him that Royal Rumble win, and give him that WrestleMania main event. Now, for Cody Rhodes, there's really only one way that he could potentially win the Royal Rumble, and that's if he loses his championship to Kevin Owens and then has to go back into the Royal Rumble and then wins the thing to face Kevin Owens at WrestleMania. It's not a very likely scenario. In fact, I'll go ahead and say this, that Cody Rhodes would have to lose his championship to Kevin Owens and then go into the Royal Rumble in order for him to have just a little chance. I don't see WWE giving him the win again, even if he lost his championship. It's just not his year to get that win at Mania, or that at Royal Rumble, I should say. Cody Rhodes, very little chance of winning the Rumble if he lost his championship. Cruz del Toro might have some fun spots in the Rumble, but he's not winning the thing. Damian Priest is another interesting name going into the Royal Rumble season this year because he has been all around the World Heavyweight title, and his path, if you will, to WrestleMania doesn't seem that clear. It feels like Damian Priest is literally just treading water right now. He finished up with Finn Balor. He's not going back to the World Heavyweight title scene. I wonder if maybe Priest needs to just be switched over to Friday Night Smackdown in order to go after whether that is the United States Championship over there, or maybe go after Cody Rhodes and the WWE Championship. I think that they want him to be a babyface, but they could present him as like a tweener and could go after Cody that way. Look, Damian Priest's a big dude. I think he's got probably like the Braun Strowman type of chance of winning the Royal Rumble, where it's like, yeah, he's a big guy. He's well known. People would be somewhat excited for him. It's just not the most exciting prospect of winning the Rumble. But hey, you know, Damian Priest is good at what he does, man. I like Priest. I like what he brings to the table, so he's got an okay chance. Dante Chen, nope. Dexter Lumis, love the Wyatt Six, but nope. Now, this idea of Dominik Mysterio winning the Royal Rumble does make me kind of excited. On the surface, no. No, I don't think he's winning this thing. All right, I don't think there's really a world where Dominik Mysterio does walk out of the Royal Rumble as the Royal Rumble winner. The only way I can see it happening, and if this played out on TV, a lot of people would be excited for it, is that Dominik Mysterio gets like eliminated but not actually going over the top rope and hides underneath the ring until the final two, and he tries to pull like a slimy move at the very end and eliminate his opponent, whoever that may be. I could see that actually going down, where everybody thinks Dominik Mysterio is eliminated. Maybe CM Punk has his hands raised at the very end, but the bell hasn't rung yet. Dominik slides back into the ring, tries to throw Punk over the top rope, and Punk hangs on before Punk eventually eliminating Dominik Mysterio. You know, like, that's the type of scenario I can see playing out if Dominik is getting close to winning. You never know, man. They could decide that they want to push Dirty Dom to the moon and have him main event a WrestleMania, but I don't think it's it's WrestleMania 40 or 41 this year. It seems very, very, very unlikely that Dominik Mysterio is going to win the Royal Rumble. I'll say he's got a little chance. Truth be told, I didn't know that Dragon Lee was the Speed Champion. I love Dragon Lee, but like, look, dude, it's just not your year yet. I think he's got such a bright future. He's going to have a fun showing in the Rumble, but no chance. Drew McIntyre has to be considered one of the absolute favorites to win the Royal Rumble this year, though, because there's so many potential matchups for him at WrestleMania around the titles. Like, you just think of the idea of him versus Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship after everything Drew McIntyre went through the last year. That could be the nice way to end Gunther's reign as World Heavyweight Champ and giving Drew McIntyre his true WrestleMania moment. You have to remember, just a year ago, he was fighting Seth Rollins for that same World Heavyweight Championship, and thanks to CM Punk, he got screwed out of the championship as Damian Priest cashed in his Money in the Bank contract. That happened in front of a lot of viewers. They publicly embarrassed Drew McIntyre to further the story with CM Punk. He ate a lot of crap over the last year, and I think Drew McIntyre probably deserves a true WrestleMania run. And if they wanted to give him a big time moment to repay him from that 2020 time where the world shut down and his match at WrestleMania was in front of nobody, no live fans. If they wanted to give him that nice little tip of the cap and say thank you for absolutely everything you have done for us over the last 6, 7, 8 years, Drew, here you go. Here's your Mania match, and here's a big time win against Gunther. I can see it happening. All right, I can see it. In fact, I will say Drew McIntyre so far is my second favorite to win the Royal Rumble. I think he has a great chance of winning this year's Rumble. Also, one more thing about Drew McIntyre. How sweet would it be if he was the one who ended CM Punk's WrestleMania main event streams? You know what I mean? Like, if he was the one who eliminated Punk after everything they went through, and Drew stood in the center of the Rumble ring as Punk is on the floor. Oh my God, that moment would be very, very poetic. Duke Hudson, sorry, bro. No chance for Chase U. Eddie Thorpe, nah, bro. Good luck next year. Idrissa Nofe, nope, see ya. I love what Elton Prince does on SmackDown with Pretty Deadly, but he doesn't have a chance of winning this year's Rumble. Same with Eric Rowan. All right, unfortunately, Eric Rowan loved the Wyatt Six, but he kind of falls into the exact same category as Dexter Lumis. Why would he win the Rumble? If anybody's winning the Rumble from the Wyatt Six, it's probably going to be Bo Dallas. Eric is great as a tag team guy, but he's a tag team guy, so no, not this year. Hear me out. What if Ethan Page won the Royal Rumble this year? Okay, I know, all right. Feels like such a stretch, and it feels like maybe he's going to be called up instead of actually winning the Rumble, but Ethan Page has everything that you could possibly want for the main roster. He's already getting TV time with CM Punk and with The Rock while he's in NXT. You gotta picture big things are in store for All Ego. Now, him winning the Rumble would be one of the most insane debuts in the history of WWE, if not the most insane debut to pencil his ticket into the main event of WrestleMania. He's more likely, if he's going to show up in the Rumble, to have a moment. Maybe him and CM Punk have another moment in the Rumble this year. That would be a cool follow-up to what happened on NXT. Maybe Ethan Page is the one who eliminates Punk for all we know. Probably not, but still, there's a chance that Ethan Page could win the Rumble, show up, but I feel like it's almost like Dominik Mysterio, where he would have to just be like a little Weasley in order to win this thing. So I'll say little chance for Ethan Page, but I'd love to see him get called up in the Rumble. Now on to Finn Balor, and the problem with Finn Balor is it feels like he's just one solid push away from being right back in that world title picture, but he's also just like 2 or 3 losses away from never being taken credible again as a world title competitor. I love what Finn Balor brings to the table. I think Finn Balor is one of the most underrated guys in all of WWE, because every time he goes out there, he crushes it. His promos are very entertaining. He understands his gimmick. He understands his job, and his matches are clearly some of the best every single time he's out there. Like, I love Finn Balor, and I think he deserves a little bit more love, and unfortunately he got caught in like the big story with Damian Priest that they never seem to get away from. Now that Priest and Balor are hopefully moving in different directions, we are able to see more from Finn, and that's not just taking a step back into the tag team division. A great way to start would be to highlight him in the Royal Rumble this year, and if we are looking for another Iron Man, you know, like I as much as I like the idea of Carmelo Hayes being the Iron Man, or an Austin Theory even being the Iron Man of this year's Rumble, or a Chad Gable, Finn Balor could fill in that role, and he could he could win it, right? They could dial it back. They could do Gunther versus Finn. They could do Cody versus Finn. Neither sound like the best match, but like, it's also Finn Balor. You know that it would be a great match in the ring. So I'll say he's got an okay chance of winning this year's Royal Rumble. Poor Giovanni Vinci. Even WWE.com hasn't updated his profile picture. He's still wearing the Imperium jacket. Bro thinks he's on the team, but bro stands no chance of winning this Rumble. Grayson Waller also feels like someday he's going to break through as a single star. Like, he's got all the talent in the world, but this year, if anything is happening, he's eliminating Austin Theory, or Austin Theory's eliminating him, and then they're going to feud going into WrestleMania. Or who knows, maybe they just continue to put off the breakup some more. I think that Austin Theory has a much better chance of winning than Grayson Waller. So Grayson Waller, no chance. If Gunther was to lose his World Heavyweight Championship to Jey Uso at Saturday night's main event, I could see Gunther being in the Royal Rumble, and I could see him dominating, but like, to give him the Rumble win after losing the World Heavyweight title is very, very confusing booking, to say the least. It is Gunther after all, and if they wanted to build to say Cody versus Gunther, maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe an okay chance here for Gunther, but I'll put him on the low side of okay if he was to lose the World Heavyweight Championship to Jey Uso. I feel like you can get back to that match between Jey Uso and Gunther without needing to go through the Rumble, if that's what you wanted your WrestleMania match to be, which I don't think that's the WrestleMania match. So I'll say if he loses the world title, he's got an okay chance. Hank Walker, no chance. Now, someone who could return from injury and go on to WrestleMania and have a built-in story right there is Ilya Dragunov. The idea of Ilya Dragunov returning at the Royal Rumble and winning the Royal Rumble and going on to WrestleMania to face Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship is one of the most interesting ideas that people aren't really talking about right now. And there's a reason for that, because Ilya Dragunov is injured, and I don't know if he is cleared and set to return. He was supposed to be out for a much longer time than this, but there are rumors right now that he has been seen training at the Performance Center, meaning he could be ready to come back sooner rather than later. And if he is cleared for the Royal Rumble, man, Ilya Dragunov winning the entire Rumble would make him a star. And I said this while he was down in NXT, that I thought Ilya Dragunov was WWE's top prospect, even better than a Bron Breakker. Now, we've seen what Bron Breakker's been able to do on the main roster, and it's been very, very impressive, so I might have to eat my words one day. But right now, Ilya Dragunov could still be considered one of the best untapped talents in terms of potential on the main roster. And if he returns and wins the Royal Rumble, he could absolutely have a big-time matchup against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship. So I'll say this, I feel like he's got a good chance of winning as well. It would be one of the most unexpected choices to win the Royal Rumble. He would not be on anybody's favorites list, but if it happened, a star would be born, and I know the crowd would go berserk for Ilya. Ivar, same as Eric, love your tag team champions, but you're not winning. Now we're cooking. What about the idea of Jacob Fatu being the one who wins this year's Royal Rumble? This could be the way of easing back in towards an idea of Jacob Fatu maybe trying to take over as the tribal chief of the family. I don't know what's going on with Solo Sikoa. I don't know if they plan on splitting Solo from Jacob and Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa. I have literally no clue, and that's why we watch Monday Night Raw and Friday Night Smackdown to find out what's going to happen with them. But in terms of the character himself, Jacob Fatu is a future WrestleMania main eventer, in my honest opinion. I think he will eventually someday fight for a championship at WrestleMania. It might very well be Bron Breakker versus Jacob Fatu one day for the title. But the only way that I see Jacob Fatu actually winning the Royal Rumble is if there are plans for Roman Reigns to win a championship, say at the Elimination Chamber. If Roman Reigns wins the world title inside the chamber, or hell, he wins the WWE Championship, I don't think that will happen, but let's say he wins a title and Jacob Fatu wins the Royal Rumble. There's your Mania match, right? It's Jacob versus Roman right there. They've been teasing it for a little while, and I know people would love to see that match, and they could maybe even add more stakes that like the Ula Fala is on the line or something like that. Okay, it's possible. It's definitely a possibility, but I'm not going to say it happens this year, all right? There's too many other people that make more sense than Jacob Fatu. He feels like he's got a better chance than, say, honestly, I would say anybody here in the okay chance. I would say that he's got like a high okay chance, but he's not quite in the good chance territory yet. If Jacob Fatu is ready to go and they are like, let's pull the trigger on this man and make him a main eventer this year, then him winning the Rumble might be the way to get the job done. But as of now, I don't feel like he's going to win. It doesn't make a lot of sense with the championship pictures, how they are. And so that's why I say he's got an okay chance. Big Body Javi getting the big no chance. JD McDonough, you are such a wonderful person. I actually have gotten to meet JD McDonough in real life. I met him back at Money in the Bank. He was so kind. He let me hold on to the tag team title and all that. Very, very cool dude. But you're not winning this year's Rumble. Sorry, bud. Javon Evans would be really cool to see inside the Royal Rumble. In fact, it would be actually incredible watching him bounce around the ring and doing some really cool spots. I wonder if maybe they could give him the Kofi Kingston crazy save spot in the Royal Rumble now that Kofi Kingston has turned heel. I wonder if Javon Evans could pull off some really cool displays of athleticism, maybe jumping to the barricade to save himself from elimination, doing the handstand, or who knows, whatever he could come up with. It would be really interesting to see if he could pull it off. I don't think he's going to win this thing. It feels very, very outlandish. He might not even be in the Royal Rumble to begin with, so I'll say no chance for Javon Evans. But what about Jey Uso? Could Jey Uso win the Royal Rumble? There's literally only one answer to that. Yeet. Look, 2025 might very well be the year of Jey Uso where he truly proves himself as a main event level talent. He's getting an opportunity against Gunther for the World Heavyweight Championship, and I personally believe he's going to lose that match, but he could come oh so close, and maybe that is the catalyst to getting the fans behind him on the road to WrestleMania, where maybe he fights against Gunther again. Or hell, if they wanted to, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if they decided they don't have a match for Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, they could dial back a tag team partner of Cody Rhodes, somebody who has had his back in Jey Uso. And I wonder what that story could look like going into WrestleMania as well. Or hell, hear me out, man. This is something else completely out there, but Jey Uso could very well, just for whatever reason, go up against Gunther and win at Saturday night's main event. And then maybe somebody else goes and challenges him at WrestleMania. Like, I don't know what's going to go on with Jey Uso, but there is definitely a chance that he could win the Royal Rumble. And if he did, it would be a very interesting ride. I'll go ahead and say I'll say good, but I'm going to go low good for Jey Uso right here. He feels like he's more likely to win the world title and have somebody come against, oh my God, that sounded sus. Somebody go against him at WrestleMania. And if he was going to win the world title, I just don't see it happening really this year. But hey, he could maybe win the Royal Rumble. He is main event Jey, and that's why I say he's got a good chance. Jimmy Uso, on the other hand, I think has very little chance of winning the Rumble this year. Like, I'll go ahead and put him above Big E. Okay, I think that he probably deserves to be put above somebody who is not actually wrestling for the company. But I think that Jimmy Uso does have a little chance of walking out as the Royal Rumble winner, but he's got a lot more to build himself up to, and I think he's going to go after a mid-card championship in 2025. So the Royal Rumble probably isn't going to be his thing to win this year. Joaquin Wilde, nope. Joe Coffey, nah. Joe Gacy, still the same thing as the other guys in the Wyatt Six. Nope, don't see you winning it. Man, now I have to talk about John Cena in his last year in the WWE. First of all, thank you, John, for absolutely all the amazing memories that you have given me as a pro wrestling fan. It's not going to be the same knowing that you are done with WWE moving forward. I will say this about John Cena this year. It feels like he could win the Royal Rumble. If we are telling the story of John Cena trying to complete this 17th World Championship and win the big one and go out on top and beat somebody at WrestleMania, it feels like John Cena could very well, you know what I mean? He could very well get the job done this year. Now, John Cena winning the Royal Rumble would require a lot of people to be fully behind the idea of a part-timer coming back and winning the Rumble and taking away the spot from people who have been building up WWE over the last few years and making it this really hot company and this hot promotion for everybody to thrive in. Cena would be taking away that spot. Now, it is John Cena. It is in his last year of pro wrestling. It is his retirement tour, so I think we could understand why they would pull the trigger on that. It is a cool story going into WrestleMania that John Cena won the Royal Rumble, and it would certainly create like a lot of excitement around the event. However, I don't think Cena wins the Royal Rumble this year. I think he comes up very, very, very short. Like just short, you know what I mean? By like 1 or 2 entrants, I think he'll be either the second last eliminated or the third last eliminated. And then John Cena's hopes and dreams of going to Mania will go up in smoke. The idea of Cena needing to earn his way to WrestleMania, maybe through the Elimination Chamber, to me is a more intriguing story after failing to win the Royal Rumble than actually winning the Royal Rumble. Now, in terms of matches for John Cena, right, at WrestleMania, there is 2 matches available, which is why him winning the Royal Rumble makes a lot of sense. You could literally do an all-time dream matchup in John Cena versus Cody Rhodes, or you could do an all-time dream matchup in John Cena versus Gunther for the world title if those are the champions going into WrestleMania. And both of those matches sound so damn exciting. I want to see either of them. I would love to see Cody John. I would love to see Gunther John. I don't care which one happens at Mania, but for him to win the Royal Rumble and go on to WrestleMania, it's an interesting idea, man, and I wonder if they pull the trigger. I personally believe they're going to make us wait just a little bit longer before knowing what John Cena's WrestleMania match is going to be, but if they wanted to, man, they could absolutely pull the trigger and have John Cena win the Royal Rumble this year. I'll say he is the second most likely person so far in this list to potentially win the Royal Rumble. He's got a great chance. Oh, I love Johnny Gargano. Dude, this hurts, but nah, you don't have a chance. I'll go ahead and say it. Josh Briggs, Julius Creed, Carl Anderson, you guys all don't have a chance of winning this year's Royal Rumble. Sorry, folks, but yeah, that ain't happening. Karrion Kross is one of the most interesting names going into the Royal Rumble this season, not because I think he's going to win, but because I think he's going to have a big impact on the actual middle of the match. I think a lot of stories are going to run through Karrion Kross and maybe his Authors of Pain brothers by his side with the Final Testament. Who knows what's going on with Karrion, but I think Kross is going to have a great showing this year in this Rumble, and 2025, we're going to be talking a lot more about Karrion Kross. He is honestly made himself into one of the most interesting characters on WWE TV, and I see that continuing throughout this year. He's so menacing, and I love the idea that everybody changes after facing Karrion Kross. So you look at who he's facing, and you're like, what type of direction could they be going in after this feud with Karrion? And to me, that's a really, really good character. I love what Kross brings to the table. I don't think he's got really a good chance of winning this thing. I think he's got maybe a little bit better of a chance than Jey Uso. So I'll put him right here in the little chance department. But still, I love what Kross brings to the table. I wish that more people would be on the Karrion Kross train. All right, I'm on it now. I'm fully on board. And I think more people are hopping on as well. In order for Kevin Owens to win the Royal Rumble, he has to lose to Cody Rhodes at the Royal Rumble. And that alone, seeing Kevin in both matches, doesn't feel likely. I'll just say it. I don't think Kevin Owens really has a great chance of winning the Royal Rumble this year. His feud with Cody Rhodes has gone on quite a bit, and now he's getting this title match, and it feels like we're probably moving in a different direction after Royal Rumble with Kevin Owens, unless he wins the title. That is definitely a possibility. Now, for Kevin Owens to win the championship, a lot has to go on, and WWE has to be so confident with who is winning the Rumble that it is like a no-brainer picking KO to win the championship. Do I think we could see him in the Royal Rumble? Sure. Do I think he's got an okay chance, just pretty much as anybody? Yeah, sure. They're not going to pick Kevin Owens to win the Royal Rumble this year. It's just not his time, but him being a part of the Royal Rumble in that ladder match against Cody Rhodes is where he belongs this year. So if he loses that and then goes back into the Rumble, yeah, sure, he's got an okay chance. But other than that, nah, he ain't winning. Kit Wilson, sorry, bud, you got no chance. Kofi Kingston is also an interesting one because Kofi could win the Royal Rumble, but I think it's going to be more so playing off of how much heat Kofi has in the Rumble this year. And maybe he tries to, I don't know, save himself from elimination and it doesn't go right and the crowd boos him out of the arena or something like that. I think Kofi's going to have a cool spot in the Rumble this year, but in terms of actually winning, I'll say that he's got maybe just a little less of a chance than Karrion Kross. He's got a little chance of winning, but again, it's Kofi Kingston is not in the world title picture right now. He's hovering around the tag team division with Xavier Woods. Kofi would need a miracle in order to win. LA Knight. Yeah, I love LA Knight. I love everything he's doing, but man, oh man, does it feel like he's got no chance of winning this thing. All right, like I can't put him in the no chance in hell right here because let's be real, there's lots of other people in there that literally have no chance. I feel like he's more so around the, actually, I'll put him just above Karrion Kross, right? LA Knight at the high little chance, but like even then, I can't even justify putting him in the okay chance. LA Knight is nowhere near the World Heavyweight title picture or the WWE Championship picture. I'd love to see him get moved up, but LA Knight, man, his star power has kind of fallen, and I don't know what's next for him. Make way for the king, Lexus King. Okay, we actually don't have to make way for him because he's going in the no chance. Now, if you want heat, this is somebody who could win the Royal Rumble. Logan Paul coming into WWE and winning the Royal Rumble and going on to WrestleMania and fighting for a world championship. Oh boy, the heat, man. The heat would be insane for Logan Paul. Do I think WWE is going to do it? No? Question mark? Probably not. There's more interesting people, I think, than Logan Paul that could win it if you wanted to go for heat, right? Like if we take a look at our list right here, I would say that you could easily go for heat with Brock Lesnar. Granted, that'd be crazy heat. You could go for some heat with, if you wanted, Drew McIntyre eliminating CM Punk at the very, very end would be heat, no doubt about it. And then there's like, again, you've got like people like a Jacob Fatu if you wanted. You could do a Kevin Owens if you really wanted to. There's other ways to get heat. A Dominik Mysterio would be a crazy heat magnet right there for the show. Logan Paul, though, I got to put him in good chance here. And I'll put Jey Uso actually above Ilya Dragunov right here and I'll actually put him above Chad Gable because I think Jey Uso has the best good chance out of anybody there. But then I'll say Logan Paul probably above Ilya right there. I like that idea that Logan Paul could potentially win if WWE wanted a ton of heat and to get the social media numbers that Logan Paul brings going into WrestleMania. In fact, me saying that out loud, man, it's not as outlandish as it seems that Logan Paul could win the Royal Rumble. It feels like if WWE really wanted to, they could make the World Heavyweight title match feel like a gigantic deal. Can you imagine if they pulled the trigger on Paul winning the world title? My God, the heat would be insane. Luca Crusifano, I honestly forgot how to pronounce his name until just a minute ago, but Luca Crusifano, you can go in the no chance. Same with Lucian Price. Ludvig Kaiser is somebody who has completely elevated their stock over the last couple of years, and he went from just being a tag team guy to being now a singles star who I think might very well win singles gold in 2025. I personally see an Intercontinental Championship run in the future of Ludvig Kaiser. He might even be the guy to take the title off Bron Breakker for all we know. But him winning the Royal Rumble seems outlandish this year. It feels like he's got a little chance, right? He doesn't have no chance. They could do Gunther versus Ludwig. In fact, me saying that out loud does make it feel like it's maybe more than a little chance. Maybe we're in the okay chance territory for Ludvig Kaiser, just simply because who the World Heavyweight Champion is. I'm talking myself into this more. I'll go ahead and say he is like right behind a Bron Breakker right here in terms of change. Actually, you know what? Even ahead of a Bron Breakker, if you will, because of the story that's going on with Gunther. They have laid the foundation for a potential matchup between Ludwig and Gunther someday down the line, and it could be WrestleMania. Do I think it's going to be this year? No. I think that there's other people who are more likely to win the Royal Rumble than Ludvig Kaiser. But hey, he's got an okay chance. Luke Gallows, nope. Malik Blade, nope. Mark Coffey, nope. I wonder when the day will come when we actually push Montez Ford up the card and turn him into the absolute superstar that he is ready to be. Montez Ford, I don't know the injury status of him going into Royal Rumble this season. If he's injured, then he's injured, and obviously he's not likely to compete if that's the case. But if Montez Ford is cleared to compete, it would be interesting to see him get a really, really good showcase in this year's Rumble. It felt like back in 2023 at Elimination Chamber when he was competing inside the chamber for the United States Championship, it felt like we were about to see the breakthrough here of Montez Ford, and that didn't end up happening. He went back to being like in the tag team division and then being associated alongside of Bobby Lashley before Bobby Lashley left the company. And it all seemingly fell apart, and the last 2 years of whatever momentum he had has just really stalled out. I love Montez Ford, and I'd love to see him get that momentum back in the Royal Rumble this year. If he's cleared to compete, I will say he's got He's got a little chance, I would say less than Kofi Kingston in terms of chances here of winning this Rumble, but I would love to see a nice showcase for him right here. It's wild to say, but like I think that he's got a little bit better of a chance than some of these guys on the list, but at the same time, it's still just a little chance that he could win the thing. I thought I was looking at a young Randy Orton right here. This is Miles Bourne. Miles, you got a great look to you. I think you might actually be the real deal here in NXT. He's very talented, but not this year. He's not winning the Rumble. Nathan Frazier's never going to slow down, but he's also not winning the Rumble this year. I love Nathan Frazier, man. I really do. I think he's mini Seth Rollins. He's got everything that you could possibly want in a main roster superstar, and the moment that they call him up, people are going to be wowed by his speed in the ring. It's just not his time to win the Rumble. Noam Dar, nope. The new NXT champion Oba Femi could be showcased in the Royal Rumble. Like, there is a lot of history of the NXT champion being showcased in the Rumble match, and Oba's a big deal. He's a big dude. They could easily hype up Oba Femi here inside the Royal Rumble and turn him into a superstar for the future. Like, I honestly don't think Oba Femi is going to be NXT champion for too long before eventually calling him up to the main roster. This guy could very well be the main call-up after WrestleMania. The Raw or Smackdown after Mania could feature the call-up of Oba Femi. Now, he's great at what he does, and I think that they're truly learning what type of character they have in Oba Femi, but this year, it's about a little of a chance as you can possibly get, man. It's less than everybody here pretty much on the list, but it's not a no chance, okay? And the reason why I say it's little chance is because he's the NXT champion. All right, he's going to be needed at Stand and Deliver. He's not pulling double duty. My dog is coming up. He really likes what Oba Femi brings to the table. Hello, dog. Get on down. But it's just not his time this year. Maybe next year, man. He might very well be a future Royal Rumble winner, but Oba Femi not winning this year. Omos is an interesting idea because he has been crushing it over in Japan. But because he's been crushing it over in Japan, and I'm pretty sure he's like a tag team champion over there, I'm going to go ahead and say that he's got no chance of winning this year. It would be cool to see Omos return for the Rumble just to have that one spot. But at the same time, I feel like if you're going for that gigantic man spot, you have Braun Strowman on your roster right now. You also have an Oba Femi in NXT if you wanted to have that big dude spot, right? There's other people on the roster who could benefit from having that. Omos doesn't need to be in the Rumble this year, but I can't wait to see him come back to WWE after watching some incredible work over in Japan. Ora Mensa has no chance. I love you, Otis. We should have freed Otis a lot sooner. We kind of wasted your feud against Chad Gable, but hey, you got no chance. Now, if WWE really wanted to make a new superstar this year, there is someone who has just recently debuted on Monday Night Raw who is capturing everybody's attention, who feels like the real deal, and that is none other than Penta. This dude has zero miedo, and he could very well walk in to the Royal Rumble and walk out as the winner. Can you imagine how excited people would be if Penta walked in and walked out as the Rumble winner, and he went into WrestleMania, his first ever WrestleMania, challenging for either the world title or the WWE Championship? The idea of Penta versus Gunther is so interesting. The chop battle would be nuts, and like I think it would be one of the hardest hitting matches WWE has put on in years. It would be so much fun to watch. We need this to go down. And like, look, if Penta doesn't win the Royal Rumble, I still think that Gunther versus Penta is a match that we need to see at some point this year. And if it's for the World Heavyweight title, even better. Penta, love what he brings to the table. I'll say it, man. He's got a good chance, man. He could very well be the shocking choice this year and go on to WrestleMania and fight for that World Heavyweight title. If they want to make a new star, you could do it here. Pat McAfee. Look, never say never with Pat, right? You never know what could happen. They could pull something out of their hat and they could say, hey, Pat, go on down there and win the Royal Rumble, bud. But it's about as little of a chance as you can possibly get, all right? It's not no chance, but it's just a tiny, minuscule chance. Don't call him Butch. Pete Dunne. Not very much of a chance at all. I'll say, no, you know what? I'll just even go one step further. Sorry, Pete, but you got no chance. R-Truth, what a legend. What an absolute bro. I love R-Truth. I'm sorry to tell you, my man. Why am I making it that small? Sorry, my man, you got no chance. Now, Randy Orton winning the Royal Rumble is one of the most interesting ideas out there because there is a bunch of matches that could make sense for him actually at the Royal Rumble. If, let's say, Kevin Owens beats Cody Rhodes for the WWE Championship, well, then Kevin versus Randy at WrestleMania makes a lot of sense. If Randy wins the Royal Rumble and Cody defends his title, well, then we could get Cody versus Randy. We have seen Randy looking at the championship for a while now, up until Kevin Owens took out Randy Orton with a package pile driver. You could also maybe get a triple threat match between Randy, Kevin, and Cody if you really wanted to at WrestleMania. Like, that is definitely a possibility and a direction we could go in. Or you could do Randy Orton versus Gunther again if you wanted to for the World Heavyweight title. Or let's say Jey Uso wins the World Heavyweight title. It could be Randy Orton versus Jey Uso. The matches with Randy Orton winning the Rumble are interesting. And that's why I'm going to go ahead and say I think Randy Orton has about as good of chance as anybody of winning. He's got a better chance than Jey Uso, in my opinion. And he's just... the only thing keeping me from saying Randy Orton is a great chance of winning is because of that feud with Kevin Owens, because it does feel like Randy Orton and Kevin Owens could be going towards a WrestleMania match against each other. That does feel like a possibility, and if that's the direction we're going in, then that's why Randy Orton wouldn't win the Royal Rumble. But also, if Kevin wins the title, Randy's got to be one of the clear-cut favorites to win. I would say it would probably go like Sami and then Randy if Kevin wins the title. More on Sami in a bit. Now, could Rey Mysterio win the Royal Rumble? Sure. Could we see that happen? Yeah. Do I think it's going to happen? Not really, no. I think that we're probably looking at a little chance here for Rey Mysterio. I'll give Dominik Mysterio the edge over Rey Mysterio, okay? I'll put Rey right behind Dominik. So, Dom, you got a bit of a better chance than your daddy at winning this thing, but not much. Rizar, nope, no chance. Ridge Holland, sorry bud, no chance. Riley Osborne, nah, not a chance for you either. There is a chance that Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson could win this year's Royal Rumble, and this has been something I've been talking about for a long time on stream and in videos. The idea of The Rock becoming the Royal Rumble winner by entering at number 31. Hear me out. The Rock is the final boss. The Rock is a member of the board, and The Rock does have power to create matches in unprecedented circumstances, and one of those circumstances could be allowing for a 31st entrant. The only times we've seen a 31st entrant in a Royal Rumble is during the 40-man Royal Rumble and the greatest Royal Rumble, which had 50 people in Saudi Arabia. The Rock showing up at 31 would be crazy because we would all think all the people are in the ring now. We know everybody who is in there. We know everybody who's got a chance of winning this thing. And can you imagine we are down to like a final 3 or a final 4 even, and then all of a sudden The Rock's music hits and you see 31 on the stage and you're like, oh my God, the final boss just abused his powers and he put himself in the Royal Rumble. Can you imagine if he then went on to win the Royal Rumble? And that set up Rock versus Cody Rhodes. Look, I personally think that we are moving away from Rock this year at WrestleMania. It does feel like Rock has come back. I'm personally thinking like we'll get the final boss again in the future, but it feels like he's put pause on, or pressed pause on, the final boss character right now. The stuff that happened on Monday Night Raw, the stuff that happened on NXT, it just didn't feel like a continuation of the character that we had from before, and as a result, it does feel a little disconnected, and now we don't know, is the final boss character ever going to come back, or has he got this personality disorder where he's like two people, or what is it about Rocky right now? However, in terms of his ability to win this year's Royal Rumble, if he decides he wants to be in this year's Royal Rumble, I think Rock has to be considered the favorite. All right, I think Rock versus Cody at WrestleMania writes itself. I think it's a match that WWE sees a lot of money in. Yes, they could do Rock versus Roman, and that would print a lot of money as well, and that might still end up happening. But if they wanted a championship match for The Rock and they wanted to follow up on last year's WrestleMania with everything that was going on, it would be such a natural progression to go from Rock pinning Cody Rhodes in night 1 of WrestleMania during that tag team match to getting a championship match against Cody Rhodes at the following year's WrestleMania. To me, that writes itself, and if Rock is available, you get all the heat in the world on the final boss by having him abuse his powers. That's what you do, all right? And if Rock, again, is willing and able to show up in this Royal Rumble, I think you got to consider him. You know what? You got to consider Rock the odds-on favorite if he did decide he wanted to participate in this year's Rumble. If he chooses not to, then obviously he's not the favorite. But if Rock wants to win, Rock is going to win. Could Roman Reigns win this year's Royal Rumble? Yeah, he definitely could. This is Roman Reigns after all, and he has vowed to get back his WWE Championship. And if WWE likes to do anything, they love to run trilogies, and Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns 3 in a row at WrestleMania could be crazy. Something that I don't think we've ever seen in a row. 3 WrestleMania main events in a row of being Cody versus Roman. I think that's unprecedented. That's never happened before in my memory, at least. And you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comments section. But Roman Reigns, if he was to win this year's Rumble, it would be to go on to face Cody Rhodes in a gigantic rematch. And we know that will draw money. We know that will get people interested. We know that there's a lot of moving parts with that. You add in CM Punk, you add in the bloodline drama, everything that has been happening over the last year. It could very well be a match that would get a lot of people to tune into WrestleMania. I will say I think that's the not boring route, but we've seen it before. We've seen a lot of it, right? We've seen Roman versus Cody, and I think that there's more interesting matchups for both of them. I will say that Roman has a great chance of winning, okay? He probably has a better chance than Drew McIntyre of winning this thing because he's one of those people that if he wins, there will be a big pop, right? Let's take a look. CM Punk, if he wins, big pop. Cena, if he wins, big pop. Roman, if he wins, big pop. Brock, if he wins, big pop. Drew McIntyre, if he wins, big pop. Brock Lesnar, oh boy, interesting pop. Right? There's definitely a big pop there for Roman Reigns if he was to win the Rumble. And it would also feel like WWE is rectifying the wrongs. You know, back when he won the Royal Rumble, he was booed out of the arena. This time they would be able to get the reaction they were looking for Roman because people would actually cheer him. And then again, going up against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania is a big time money match. Roman could win this thing. This is where my bias is going to show though for Sami Zayn. I hope Sami Zayn is this year's Rumble winner. I hope and pray that Sami Zayn somehow is the one to get the job done. Can you imagine a world where Kevin Owens does take the WWE Championship from Cody Rhodes? If Kevin Owens does hit a package pile driver on the ladders as he climbs up and retrieves the championship, and then it's Kevin Owens as the champion going into WrestleMania 42. Can you imagine what that would be like? But in order to get the most out of that championship run with Kevin, you would need the proper opponent, and there is nobody better on planet Earth for Kevin Owens in the ring than Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens have been bound together forever, and they will never stop fighting. It is such a beautiful story told between the two, and to see the two of them main event a WrestleMania over a championship would just be so poetic to the rest of their career, and honestly, they kind of deserve a moment like that with each other in the ring. Sami Zayn winning the Royal Rumble would push him to superstardom, and I would say Sami Zayn is on the high side of good chance. I don't think Sami is quite in the great chance because there's things that have to happen in order for it to be a great chance that Sami Zayn wins the Rumble. And in order, again, for that to happen, you got to see Kevin Owens lose the championship, right? You got to see KO lose his, you got to see KO win the championship. I messed myself up right there. KO's got to win for Sami Zayn to win the Royal Rumble. And if that's the case, my goodness, what a WrestleMania match that will be. Santos Escobar, sorry, buddy, you're not going to win. But someone who I think has a really great chance of winning this year's Royal Rumble and is probably the most interesting choice to win it is none other than Seth freaking Rollins. Hear me out. I think Seth Rollins has the best possible matchups if he wins this year's Royal Rumble. If we take a look at the potential champions, we could have Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes, which, yeah, Seth Rollins versus Cody Rhodes could go down and it would be a massive match. We know that they have a huge rivalry, and seeing Rollins get that opportunity against Cody at WrestleMania after being the one who helped him win the championship a year prior makes for such a great chronological order viewing if you start at WrestleMania 39 and go even WrestleMania 38 if you wanted to, back to when Cody Rhodes debuted in WWE against Seth Rollins. You go from there all the way to their match against each other for the championship. It would be such a great way to watch WrestleMania. Now, if let's say Cody Rhodes isn't going to face Seth Rollins, let's say Seth Rollins wants to go after somebody else, him going back after the World Heavyweight Championship is intriguing, but I don't love the idea of it being Gunther versus Seth Rollins, right? That isn't the best option. You know what's a better option is if Seth Rollins is the one who eliminates CM Punk from the Royal Rumble, stopping his dreams of main eventing WrestleMania, and for CM Punk to go and win the World Heavyweight Championship inside the Elimination Chamber, setting up Seth Rollins versus CM Punk at WrestleMania for that world title. We know they wanted to run it before. They might want to still run it now, and that is a very easy way to get to it, especially considering Rollins is not leaving Punk's side. He is the thorn in Punk's side, and can you imagine if Punk, he just wants to main event to WrestleMania, and he has to main event it against Seth freaking Rollins. It is a great chance that Rollins could win this year because he could be the slimy man who gets revenge on Drew McIntyre. He gets revenge on CM Punk. He gets revenge on absolutely everybody who has talked down to him over the years. He has history with John Cena. He has history with Roman Reigns. Can you imagine if he's the man who eliminates Roman Reigns from the Royal Rumble? There's so much story here with Seth Rollins, and I think he has got to be one of the top favorites to win. Rollins is just above Drew McIntyre in my opinion. I think Rollins has a great chance of winning this year's Royal Rumble, and he could be main eventing WrestleMania. I honestly don't even know why Shane O'Mac is listed still as a current superstar in WWE, but nah, he ain't winning. Sean Spears also ain't winning, but I love his work in NXT right now. Sheamus is also an interesting pick because, like, you could see him winning the Royal Rumble and having a big match going into WrestleMania, but at the same time, it feels like he's just a little too far out of the picture. I'll say that he's got maybe a better chance than Andrade of winning. All right. I like Sheamus. I like what he brings to the table, but I don't think he's winning this year's Rumble. The United States champion Shinsuke Nakamura also feels like he's got very little chance of winning this. Not only is he a champion, but also it feels like it's past his time. I loved when he won the Rumble before, but Nakamura's got just a little chance. Wah. Can you imagine if Solo Sikoa actually won the Royal Rumble? Dude, I think people would be losing it. I think Solo Sikoa is great at everything that he does, though. And there's times that you could say that Solo is undervalued in WWE. I think his promo game has grown leaps and bounds, and his in-ring work is good. Man, it's good. If Roman Reigns was champion, I'd say that there was a better chance of Solo Sikoa winning. It doesn't feel like Solo's going to go after the World Heavyweight Championship. It doesn't feel like he's going to go after the WWE Championship again. The only way I would say that Solo Sikoa could win the Royal Rumble is if he decided that the Ula Fala was more important than either championship, and he decided to cash in his Royal Rumble win against Roman Reigns at WrestleMania for the Ula Fala. But again, we've already seen that match. It happened on Raw on Netflix. I don't think we need to dial it back again. So there's really no reason for Solo to win the Rumble, but I'll say he's got an okay chance just because he could decide to cash it in on Roman to go after the Ula Fala. Yeah, you got no chance. Tank Ledger, very entertaining, but not this year. Tavion Heights, also an incredible talent down in NXT, but he's not winning. In fact, let's just make this really easy. Tommaso Ciampa, you're not winning this thing. You've got Tonga Loa, had the wrong guy right there. You're not winning either. Also, Tony D'Angelo, the North American champion. Good try, bud, but not this year. Trick Williams is fully someone that I expect to be called up during the Royal Rumble. I don't think he's going to win the thing. It would be such a big shock if Trick Williams actually did walk out the winner, and it would probably be one of the most historic things in WWE history, considering that it'd be an NXT rookie getting called up and winning the Rumble. It'd be historic. There's no doubt about it. I'll give him a little chance, all right, just because he is Trick Williams. He is a former NXT champion, and a big call-up could lead to a big push for some reason, but I don't see a match for Trick Williams at WrestleMania that justifies him winning the Royal Rumble. And just looking ahead here at the final people that we have Tyler Bate, we have Tyreek, we have Tyson, I'm pretty sure, Uncle Howdy, Wesley, Wolfgang, and Xavier Woods. All of these guys down here, I would say with the exception of Uncle Howdy, who we're going to put in Little Chance. And I would also say with the exception of Xavier Woods, who we're also going to put in Little Chance, I would say these 5 men down here belong in No Chance. No offense to any of them, but I just don't see a world where any of those guys are winning. So there we have it, everyone. That is my rankings for who I think has the best chance of winning the Royal Rumble. To me, I still think if The Rock wants to show up, he is going to win the whole thing. CM Punk with probably the best chance of any active superstar right now. Cena, obviously the nostalgia of his last time run. Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre, all very, very possible to win. And Brock Lesnar is an outside chance if WWE decided that they wanted to. The rest of the list, I think, are possible, but probably not likely. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below if you agree, disagree, have any thoughts, concerns, whatever. We got Xavier on the screen still. Get out of here, Xavier. But let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments below. This was a fun video. I plan on doing the exact same video for all the women. We just need more people to announce themselves in the Royal Rumble or to get a little closer to the Royal Rumble before we do that video. But as always, make sure you leave a like on this video, make sure you subscribe to the channel, turn on those notifications, and keep coming back every single day because we upload wrestling videos every single day. Editor Jay, you gotta work out with this one. But thanks for watching, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.